Hello, today I'm reading yet another request. This is a Princess Airy X listener. I made it gender neutral because the person didn't specify if it was female, male, gender neutral. I don't know, so I made it gender neutral, and it is called The Princess and the Swordsman's Travelers. I hope you enjoy. The moon hung high in the night sky, casting a silver glow over the ancient ruins where a sinister plot was unfolding. Airy, a young princess with the power to unwind time, was held captive by a formidable Azula, apprentice to the notorious villain Overhaul. Dressed in a sleek black suit and a menacing mask, Azula was a force to be reckoned with, her eyes glinting with malice as she toyed with the idea of exploiting Airy's powers for her own gain. Meanwhile, in a hidden alcove not far from the ruins, you stood, with your newfound allies, a girl named Maya and a boy named Vector. You had only met them 4 hours prior, but the urgency of the situation had forged a unbreakable bond between you all. Each of you had your own reasons for wanting to save Airy, but the most pressing was the memory of your mentor, a wise old man who had fallen under Azula's wrath, but the thought of him fueled your determination. You gripped your magical sword tightly, feeling the energy pulse through the hilt. This weapon, you could travel short distances, a skill that would be crucial in the battle ahead. Are you two ready? You asked, your voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Maya nodded, her eyes shining with determination. We have to save her. We can't let Azula get away with this. Vector was a bit more hesitant. Added, just remember, we have a plan. We can't just rush in there. With a deep breath, you activated your sword, feeling the familiar warmth envelop you. I'll create a distraction. When I give you the signal, you two rush in and grab Airy. Together, you teleported closer to the heart of the ruins. The air crackled with tension as you emerged, and you quickly spotted Airy, bound and trembling. Her eyes were big with fear. Azula stood over her, a cruel smile playing on her lips. With a flick of your wrist, you summoned your sword. Hey, Azula, you shouted, drawing her attention. Why don't you pick on someone your own size? You felt stupid saying such a cliché line, but you said it anyways. Azula's eyes narrowed, and she stepped protectively in front of Airy. You're brave, I'll give you that. But bravery only gets you so far. With a swift motion, you teleported behind Azula, your sword raised. Now! Maya and Vector charged in, ready to free Airy as you engaged Azula in a combat. The two of you exchanged blows, her firebending illuminating the darkness of the ruins. You dodged and countered, using your teleportation to keep her guessing. Is that all you got? Azula taunted, her voice dripping with confidence, but you could see a flicker of doubt in her eyes. She was not used to enemies who could match her speed. After a fierce exchange, you managed to land a blow that sent her stumbling back, giving Maya and Vector the opening they needed. They rushed to Airy, cutting her bounds with a swift motion. Airy, it's okay. We're here to save you, Maya said, her voice soothing. Airy looked up, her eyes filled with hope. Really? You didn't have time to respond as Azula regained her footing, fury in her eyes. You'll pay for that, she screamed, unleashing a wave of fire towards you and your friends. In a split-second decision, you teleported in front of Aerie, raising your sword and deflecting the flames. "Run!" you shouted, your heart racing. You could feel the heat soar past you, but you wouldn't let anything happen to her. With Aerie safe, you and your friends took off, dodging through the ruins as Azula's furious shouts echoed behind you. You teleported ahead, guiding them through the safest paths until you reached the edge of the ruins. Panting, you all paused, the moonlight illuminating the relief on your faces. "We did it!" Vector exclaimed, a grin spreading on his lips. Aerie, still trembling, looked up at you with wide eyes. "You saved me. You're my hero," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Your heart swelled at her words. "You're safe now, Aerie. We'll make sure nothing bad happens to you again." In that moment, an unbreakable bond formed between you and the young princess. You knelt down to her level, smiling gently. "Let's get you out of here. You're going to be okay." As you started to walk away from the ruins, Aerie reached out and took your hand. "Will you stay with me? I don't want to be alone." Your heart melted at her request, and you nodded, squeezing her small hand reassuringly. "Of course, Aerie. I'll stay with you as long as you need me." Maya and Vector walked beside you, glancing back at the ruins to ensure Azula wasn't chasing after you. "We should get to a safe place," Maya suggested, her eyebrows furrowing in concern. "Right," you agreed, leading the way through the dense forest surrounding the ruins. The moonlight filtered through the trees, creating a magical atmosphere that felt comforting amidst the chaos. Aerie walked closely behind you, her small frame almost hidden in the shadows, but the grip on your hand was firm. As you moved deeper into the forest, the sound of rustling leaves and distant owl calls filled the air. You could feel Aerie's tension begin to ease, and a sense of protectiveness washed over you. "Aerie, can you tell me more about yourself?" you asked, hoping to distract her from the recent events. Aerie looked up at you, her big eyes sparkling with curiosity. I used to live in a beautiful castle. There were gardens filled with flowers of every color, and I played hide and seek with the other children. But then things changed." She glanced down, her expression turning somber. "I was taken away, and I haven't seen anyone I know in a long time." Your heart ached for her, and you knelt down to meet her gaze. "You're safe now. I promise you. We'll get you back to a safe place, and we'll make sure you're happy again." Aerie nodded slowly, her trust in you growing. "You really mean it? That I can be happy again?" "Absolutely," you reassure her, a smile spreading across your face. "With friends like these," you gesture to Maya and Vector, "I know we can make it happen." Vector chimed in. "And we'll be right here with you, Aerie. You're not alone anymore." Maya added, "We'll help you find a way back home, and we can explore the world together. Just think of all the adventures we'll have." A small smile crept onto Aerie's lips, and for the first time since you had rescued her, she looked a little lighter. "Really? You really want to be my friend?" "Of course," you affirmed. "You deserve friends who care about you. We all do." As you continued your journey through the forest, you could feel a sense of trust building among the four of you. Laughter began to fill the air as Maya shared a funny story about her last failed invention, and Vector chimed in with his own embarrassing events. Aerie listened intently, her smile growing as she absorbed the warmth of their friendship. Eventually, you found a small clearing bathed in moonlight where you could rest. You settled down on the grass, and Aerie sat beside you, her expression more relaxed than before. "Do you think Azula will come after us?" Aerie asked, her voice barely above a whisper. You sighed, knowing the danger wasn't completely behind you. "It's possible, but we'll be ready. I won't let her hurt you again, I promise." Aerie's eyes shined with gratitude, and she leaned against you, seeking comfort in your presence. "Thank you for saving me," she said softly. "You're really brave." You felt a warmth spread through your chest, and you smiled down at her. "I'm not brave. I just care about you. And I think you're incredibly brave too. Just look at everything you've been through." Aerie blushed, her cheeks turning a soft shade of pink. "I don't feel brave, but I want to be just like you." A gentle laugh. With a gentle laugh, you ruffled her hair playfully. "You will be. It just takes time, and I'll be here to help you every step of the way." As the night wore on, the four of you shared stories, laughter, and dreams. You felt a bond forming with Aerie that went beyond mere friendship, a promise to protect her and cherish her, no matter the challenges ahead. Eventually, as the first light of dawn began to break, you knew it was time to come up with a plan to ensure Aerie's safety. "We have to find a place where we can be safe and away from Azula and Overhaul." "I have an idea," Vector said, his eyes brightening. "There's a hidden village nearby where heroes gather to train. We might have resources to help us there." "Let's go there," Maya said, her determination evident. "Together, we can figure out our next move." As you stood up, the sunlight streamed through the trees, casting a warm glow over the clearing. You felt a newfound sense of purpose as you looked at your friends and Aerie, who was now full of hope and determination. "All right, let's move," you said, leading the way back through the forest. With every step, you could feel a weight that of the previous night's events lifting, replaced with the new promise of a new beginning. As you approached the hidden village, a sense of excitement filled the air. The village was nested within a valley, surrounded by towering mountains and lush greenery. It was a place of refuge for heroes and those with extraordinary abilities, a sanctuary from the threats that loomed outside. Upon entering the village, you were greeted by curious gazes and friendly smiles from the residents. They were a diverse group, each with unique quirks and stories. You could feel the camaraderie among them, and it filled you with hope for Aerie's future. You made your way to the center of the village, where a large hall stood, adorned with banners representing various heroes. "This is where we can find help," you explained to Aerie, who looked around in awe. "Wow, it's amazing here," she said, her eyes wide with wonder. As you entered the hall, you were met with a tall figure with a commanding presence. He had a strong build, his hair tied back in a ponytail, and he wore a hero's uniform that radiated authority. "Welcome, travelers. I am Captain Valor, the leader of this village. What brings you here?" You stepped forward, your heart racing slightly. "We need your help. This is Aerie, a princess who has been captured by a villain named Azula. We're trying to keep her safe from those who wish to exploit her powers." Captain Valor's expression turned serious. "Azula? I've heard of her. She's a dangerous lass, especially with her connections to Overhaul. You've done well to bring her here. We'll protect her, and we'll need to act quickly.
Aerie clutched your hand tightly, her anxiety creeping back, but you leaned down and whispered, "You're safe now, Aerie. We'll keep you safe." Valor gestured for you to follow him.
Let's get you settled. We have a secure chamber where Aerie can stay while we plan our next move.
As you walked through the village, you couldn't help but feel a sense of belonging. The warmth and kindness of the villagers enveloped you, and you knew that Aerie would find a second home here. Once you reached the secure chamber, Valor turned to you and your friends.
I'll assign some of our best protectors to watch over Aerie. You can rest and gather your strengths. We'll need everyone's skills when it comes time to confront Azula.
"Thank you," you said, feeling a wave of relief wash over you. Aerie deserves to be safe. As the door closed behind you, Aerie looked around the chamber, which was cozy and filled with soft cushions and blankets. "It's nice here," she said, her voice brightening. "I feel safe." You smiled, your heart swelling with affection for the young princess. "You are safe, and you'll have friends here. We'll make sure you're never alone again." Maya and Vector enter the chamber, a few snacks in their hands.
We brought some food. You need to eat, Aerie,
Maya said, handing her a small fruit. "You've been through a lot." Aerie accepted the fruit hesitantly and took a small bite, her eyes lighting up at the taste. "This tastes really good." The atmosphere lightened as all of you sat together, sharing stories and laughing over the small meal. Aerie's laughter filled the room, and you could see the shadows of her past beginning to fade as she engaged with your friends. As the day wore on, you knew that the real challenges were still ahead. You shared your thoughts with Maya and Vector, we need to come up with a plan to confront Azula before she tries to take Aerie away again. We can't let her use Aerie's powers. I know some heroes here have experience with dealing with villains like Azula," Vector suggested. "We can gather a team to help us." "Good idea," Maya chimed in. "We could train together, too. That way, we'll all be ready for whatever comes next." You nod, feeling a sense of unity among all of you. "Let's do it. Aerie, are you up for some training? It'll help you feel stronger and more confident." Aerie looked a little hesitant but nodded. "I want to be brave, like you." "Then let's make that happen," you said, excitement bubbling in your stomach. Okay, I hope you liked this story. It was really fun to write.
Yeah. Off topic, I'm like watching Dawn to Dawn right now. And if anyone else is watching that, like, bro, tell me who's your favorite character in the comments down below, because I really want to know. Also, if you want me to like read stuff or write stuff on like Dawn to Dawn, I will gladly do that. Anyways, have a good day, night, evening, whatever. I love you guys so much. Goodbye.